Hi there. The biggest mistake most chicken keepers make is overcrowding your flock. Today, I'm going to explain how not to do that. So stay tuned. It's easy to get carried away when you're picking out chickens. You start with a few, then you see another breed you really like, and before you know it, your little coop is jam-packed with more birds than it can handle. Now here's the problem with that. Too many chickens in a small space leads to stress, disease, and feather picking. Think about it like this. If you lived in a tiny apartment with way too many people, you'd probably feel cranky, restless, and maybe even a little unhealthy, right? Well, chickens feel the same way. They need their personal space, not just for comfort, but for their health and happiness. When chickens are crowded, the first thing that usually happens is stress, and a stressed out chicken doesn't lay well. They might stop laying eggs altogether. On top of that, stress weakens their immune system, which makes them more likely to get sick. The second issue is disease. When you pack birds tightly together, droppings pile up fast. Moisture builds in the bedding, ammonia levels rise, and suddenly you're dealing with respiratory problems or parasites. It's a recipe for trouble. And the third big problem is feather picking. Chickens are naturally curious, but when they're bored and packed too close, they can turn on each other. You'll start seeing bare backs, missing feathers, even bloody spots where one bird picked too much. And once that behavior starts, it spreads quickly. Now, what should you expect to see if you overcrowd your flock? Eggs will suddenly drop off or stop altogether. You may notice loud, restless clucking or chickens pacing the coop because they can't settle down. Feathers on the floor or bare patches on your hens' backs are a sure sign of picking. Strong ammonia smells hit you when you open the coop. That's unhealthy air. And worst of all, you'll start finding sick birds or even unexplained deaths. These are all red flags that your birds simply don't have enough room. So how do you prevent all that? Simple. Give them enough room. Here's a good rule of thumb. Inside the coop, you want at least 3 to 4 square feet per bird. That's the bare minimum. So if you've got 6 chickens, your coop should be at least 18 to 24 square feet inside. Think of a 4x6 coop. That's a nice size for 6 hens. Now the run, the outdoor space, is just as important. Chickens love to scratch, dig, and spread their wings. Out there, they'll need 8 to 10 square feet per bird. So for those same 6 hens, you'd want a run that's around 60 square feet. That could be a 6x10 area, for example. And if you're lucky enough to free range them, space becomes less of an issue. But you'll still want a secure run for when you can't let them out. When you're planning, always ask yourself, how many chickens do I want and how much space can I realistically give them? If you already have a coop, figure out the square footage, measure the length and the width, multiply them together, and that gives you the total square feet. Then divide that number by 3 or 4 and you'll know how many birds your coop can comfortably hold. For example, here on our property, our coop is actually 10 by 10 feet. Now by itself, that would normally be big enough for 50 chickens. At 100 square feet, that only gives 2 square feet per bird, which is too tight if they were locked inside all day. But here's the difference. Our flock spends almost all of their time in a large run. The coop is just their bedroom, the place they gather at night to roost. Because they have plenty of outdoor space to move, scratch, and spread their wings during the day, the 10 by 10 coop works for us. That said though, we're maxed out. We could not add another chicken or duck and still give them enough room. So if we tried, we'd risk stress, disease, and feather picking. The bottom line is, chickens are happiest when they've got enough space to spread out. Give them room to roost, room to scratch, and room to just be chickens. A well-spaced flock is a healthy flock, and you'll see the difference not only in their behavior, but also in the quality of their eggs. So remember, don't overcrowd. Do the math, plan your coop and run size, and your flock will thank you with healthier, happier lives. And trust me, it's a lot more enjoyable to watch chickens that are content and thriving than ones that are stressed and picking at each other. Chickens are meant to be a joy, not a headache, and giving them the right amount of space makes all the difference. At the end of the day, happy chickens need space. So how much room are you giving your flock right now? Tell us in the comments below. As always, we thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time.